One.
Contestant number 8.
Our world is constantly divided on matters of right and wrong, most of which we only catch headlines of on our screens. I read these headlines and I find myself wondering, how can I help others? How can I create the change that I wish to see? Well, the answer is simple, by following my ethics. But what are ethics exactly? When we go about our day-to-day, our decision-making is influenced by a list of values, beliefs, principles, and norms. We adopt these foundational pillars throughout our lives. Think about people you've interacted with, words of wisdom that have stuck with you. These things tell us how we should live our lives, and they're essentially our ethics. I could say that my ethics have been roughly 555 years in the making. This is because my moral code has been heavily influenced by the religion my family practices, Sikhism. Sikhism advocates for equality, living honestly, and helping others, and these values have pushed me to pursue law. Initially, I thought that the law was always just, always fair to all, and that's what drew me to it. But then I read about the Scottsboro Boys trial, in which 9 young African-American men were falsely accused and sentenced to death, and then again, a similar injustice with the Central Park Five. Prosecutorial misconduct is far too common. Introduction of fake evidence, improper arguments, promising someone a lighter jail sentence for lying in their witness testimony. I imagined myself in court. Could I really stand before the judge, hold my head high, and say, "Yes, Your Honor, this fickle evidence clearly shows that this person deserves a life sentence"? Of course not. My ethics influence me to think and know that this would be wrong. And whether we realize it or not, the Rotary four-way test is practically ingrained into ethics. The first point of the four-way test, is it the truth? It took me a long time to realize that my words have a lot of power, and what I say and put out into the world affects everyone. I saw things happening that I didn't agree with. Prejudice, systemic issues, men and women getting up behind podiums and lying through their teeth. While yes, lawyers are often forced to twist their words to sway the jury, it would be my moral obligation to report nothing but the truth. And that principle isn't just confined to court. The second point of the Rotary four-way test, is it fair to all concerned? Weaving through the ethics and morals of the justice system can be hard, especially when there are so many complexities and nuances, just as there are in our everyday lives. If I work for a firm, I inevitably will have to defend a criminal when there's ample evidence that could send them to jail. But I can't just lie for the sake of adding another successful trial to my repertoire. I can still, however, push for a shorter sentence, which provides a sense of relief and justice while also somewhat benefiting my client. This point goes hand in hand with the next point of the Rotary four-way test. Is it beneficial to all concerned? The truth either benefits the victim or the convicted, and throughout life, the truth can either benefit me or everyone else. Is there ever a win-win situation? More often than not, the best thing to do is just tell the truth. This point of the four-way test teaches me to take time to process the truth, think about how it affects others, and use that to create solutions that benefit everyone. And the last point of the four-way test, will it build goodwill and better friendships? It certainly doesn't seem likely when I think about the future and how my career and reliability as a lawyer would be built on won and lost cases. But what about my reputation outside of court? What about my reputation in the eyes of my coworkers? What about right now, the way I come across to my friends, my family, or even all of you? I think about the people that I could help by embracing the truth throughout my life. I can influence them to do the same, just like I hope to do so right now. We must proudly stand up and speak up for what we believe in, because our words matter. For example, take Motaz Azeza and Bisan Oda. Journalists who are just two of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians speaking up against 75 years of oppression and violence. 75 years that we must ultimately recognize truthfully as a genocide against the Palestinian people. Their situation is one of extremes. That is all the more reason that we must speak up, use our voices, hand in hand with our ethics, to create a more just and more equal world for everyone.